Next, let's move on to conditional probability. So, the probability of an event given that another event has occurred is called a conditional probability. So, the conditional probability of A, event A, given B is denoted by kaning symbol. So, kanang vertical nga line nga nag-divide sa event A of B. So, muna siya pasabot nga ang gipangita is your conditional probability. Now, the conditional probability is computed as follows. So, the conditional probability of A given B is denoted by the probability of the intersection, diba? Symbol na siya, intersection of A and B divided by the probability of event B. So, unsay concept di ay sa conditional probability. For you to understand it better is we'll have an example. So, you have here this example which makitaan po na diri sa so there. So, for example, as an illustration is that consider a situation wherein the promotion status of male and female officers over the past 2 years are given. So, maari makita nimo pila ka buok men ang promoted, pila ka buok women ang promoted and not promoted for both men and women. So, as you can see here, this table is familiar, diba? Kaya nga naman, nanana siya sa ato ang chapter 1 or 2 when we were creating the cross tabulation, diba? So, mo man kani siya is your cross tabulation man na siya when you are dealing of more than 2 variables. So, ang imong first variable is kaning promotion nga side. So, either promoted or not promoted. And then, your second variable is ang gender. So, either men or women. So, kaning siyang conditional probability is nag-deal ni siya or it makes use of cross tabulation. Now, again, as mentioned, the table shows the status or the statistics on the number of men and women nga promoted or not promoted. Now, after reviewing the promotion record, as shown in the table, a committee of female officers raised a discrimination case on the basis that 288 male officers had received promotions but only 36 female officers had received promotions. Now, the police administration argued that the relatively low number of promotions for female officers was due not to discrimination but to the fact that there are relatively few females as members of the police force. So, again, ang mga female is nireklamo sila kay mas gamay daw ang chance na babae or mas gamay daw ang chance nga ma-promoted kung babae ka in comparison kung lalaki. Kaya di ba makita ni mo diri, I'm not sure if okay kani which naraya po na diri. Oops. I forgot to change this. So, teka lang. Oops. There is distortion. Okay, so, as you can see here, kanina sa pink is mo na ang probability, no? So, again, makuha ni na to ato ang probability through the use of cross tabulation. Diba? Mo ni siya ang mga relative frequencies na ni siya. So, ang probability daw sa mga lalaki nga ma-promote is 24%. Ang sa babae na ma-promote is only 3%. For the probability of men nga di ma-promote is 56% and women is 17% and so on. So, mo na ang ilahang gi-argue nga Ni-argue ang women nga dili daw sila ma-promote tungod kay babay sila. Mo na ang ilahang gi-argue. Or there is a lesser chance for women to be promoted. Now, ang gihimong excuse sa administration is, of course, gamay ra daw ma-promote sa mga babae kay gamay ra man sa daw sila in number. Like in comparison, 240 and then there are 96 nga 960 nga men daw. So, this is where conditional probability comes in. Let's try to look at this. Now, conditional probability is again the probability of a given event the probability of event A given another event. So, in this case, makita nito this example, event A is the officer is promoted. So, ano na lang. Or in our case, is hardly confusing. Mag-change na po ko. This is A. And then, this is AC. Or katong imuhang complement of an event. A. And then AC. Okay. So, kana daw. Event A is an officer is promoted. Now, event M, the promoted officer is a man. So, kung moingon dito nga the probability of event A given M, ang pasabutan na niya is the probability that an officer is promoted given that the officer is a man. So, meaning, ang probability sa promotion is magsalig siya sa kaning imuhang event nga ikaduha. Again, ang probability nga imong gi-compute ani is technically the probability of the first event given the second event. So, unsa day probability nga ma-promote ka, event A, if lalaki ka, or given nga lalaki ka. Mao na siyang pasabot ani. Mao na siyang statement ha. Ayaw i-confuse inyong self, kay lahi na siya if baliktad. If baliktad, if probability of if M na diri ang mag-una, nya A na diri, ang pag-understand nimo ana or imuha na siyang state is, it is the probability nga ang lalaki, the probability nga lalaki ang imong makuha given nga out of sa tanan nga ma-promote. So, ana na siya. Again, if mag-una ang M diri nya, with ang A, it is the probability nga lalaki ang imuhang kuha or the probability of men given out of all the mga na-promote. So, kana siya, given that the officer is promoted. So, unsay probability nga ang gender kay lalaki out of all the officers nga mga na-promote. So, mo na kung mag-una ang M. So, lahi na siya ha. So, in this case, ato tato sa imuhang formula. The intersection of A and M. So, asa man nag-intersect si A o si M? So, nag-intersect sila ari. Diba? Kaninga point sila nag-intersect. That is your point of intersection. Na. And then, the probability of your M is, ari ra, kung pila ka buok lalaki. So, there is daw a kung ato siyang kuhan ang conditional probability, so the intersection of A and M and divided by the probability of M, so we have a probability of 30%. So meaning there is a 30% probability nga ma-promote ka kung lalaki ka. Kagets ra? There is a 30% probability that an officer is promoted given na lalaki siya or kung lalaki siya. Na siya 30% probability nga ma-promote siya kung lalaki siya. Now, let's try to get the probability for women. Now, ang probability sa atong women is lahi na ang ihang statement no. So, the probability nga ma-promote ka, so probability of A given nga babae ka. So, mo ni siya nga pasabot ani na statement. So again, the probability of A given nga ma-promote ka given nga babae ka. So if ato na siyang i-compute or ato ang i-solve, di ba we have the probability of first na probability of the intersection of A and W. So, asa man nag-intersect si A ug si W? So, nata diri 0.03 divided by the probability of W. So, ang probability sa W nimo is naari sa imong ubos. So, you have 0.02. So, ang atoa na siyang i-solve is 0.3 divided by 0.2. So, ang women daw is naa lang siya'y 15% na probability nga ma-promote siya if babae siya. So, makita nimo or for you is ma-compare na ni more, mabatagan na mo comparison if sakto ba gito ang claim. Kitawa, kung lalaki raw ka, 30% imong chance nga ma-promote ka, pero kung babae ka, imong percent nga chance nga ma-promote is only 15%. So, meaning na there are possible issues of discrimination. Now, another way of analyzing, diba, is kani siya, sa kani palandaan is daghan na kayo nga probabilities ang imuhang pwede makuha. Or again, sa imuhang cross tabulation is daghan na kayo kag probabilities nga pwede makuha sa isa pa lang ka cross tabulation. So, for instance, ganahan ka makahibaw sa probability nga sa mga babae o probability nga an officer is a woman out of all the wala na promote. So, again, the probability na babae given nga wala na promote. So, ani man siya, imaginean lang, inanin ni siya para maka-imagine mo. Ikaw ang person nga magpili no. Then, tanang mga officers, sila tanan, 1,200 is naa sa imong atubangan. Nasa sa imong atubangan. And then, ang gipasabot ani is, kung mupili daw kag isa nila, at random, if you pick someone at random, diba? Unsay imuhang probabilities na kana imong makuha at random. Now, kana siya is normal probability. Now, if mo apply tag conditional, if anita sa una, if arita sa kanina lang, para mas ma-relate niyo or maka-make mo comparisons, di ba? A given W and W given A. Now, A given W, ay ni siya. Basta kung giingon, mamili ka. Ang naa sa imuhang atubangan, or again, ang imong pilianan, kung A given W, is puro mga babae. Again, ang imong pilianan is puro mga babae. So, meaning, ang nasa imong atubangan, kaning 240 kabuok women police officers, sila ang naa sa imuhang atubangan. Now, inigpili ni mong isa at random, unsa daw ang probability nga kana imuhang mapilian is promoted na siya nga babae. So, mao ni ang 15%. Now, kung anita sa ikaduha, let's try to solve for this second one. Women and then promoted. So, intersection of women divided by the probability of promoted. See? So, if makita nimo, again, sa katong una no, kay mga babae tanan ang nagbarog sa imuhang atubangan. Inikuha daw nimo or igpili nimo isa or pila ang probability igpili nimo isa na ay 15% probability nga kana imuhang mapilian is promoted na siya. So, ana ang ihang concept ha. Kaning sa ikaduha is ang nagbarog sa imong atubangan kay tanang mga promoted. Again, sa kaning ikaduha, ang nagbarog sa imong atubangan is tanang mga promoted. So, kaning 324. Inigpili daw nimong isa naa kay 11% probability nga imuhang mapilian kay babae. Kagets ra? Do you see the difference? So, mo na siya conditional probability. So, lahi ang imuhang gigiven na sa imuha. So, kani again, sa first one is given nga mga babae. So, meaning imong pilianan ra is mga babae na sa tanan. So, out of all those women, pila daw ang probability nga promoted sila, pila ang probability nga promoted ang imuhang mapilian. Now, sa second one is out of all those promoted nga police officers, pila inig kapik nimo ang at random ang probability nga babae imuhang mapilian. Kagets mo? So, different ni silang duha. So, mao na imuhang conditional probability. Gets ra? Gets ra? So, given, diba, sa imuhang conditional probability is nagyapon tay katong mga nanasad tay another law which is our multiplication law. Now, multiplication law states or multiplication law provides a way to compute the probability of the intersection of two events. Again, probability intersection of two events. Now, kanina siya. Katong imuhang intersection is equal to the probability of your given multiplied by the probability or multiplied by the conditional probability of A given B. So, if makabantay mo, kani siya nga formula is gikan rani sa kani. Diba? Kani nga formula is gikan rani ani. So, ang imuha lang, multiplication law is, ang imuhang gipangita is the intersection. So, ang imuhang gipangita is kaning naa sa babaw. So, para makuha ni mo nga sa babaw, of course, diba, inig-derive ni mo na makakuha ka sa formula nga i-multiply nini mo imuhang conditional probability by the probability of the given event. So, kanarang imuhang multiplication law. So, for example, a newspaper circulation department has the following event. So, event D is that a household subscribes to the daily edition, while event S, the household already holds subscription to the Sunday edition. Now, if you have the probability of event T at 84%, and then the conditional probability of S given D. So, unsay pasabot aning S given D, kung ato ning analyze, unsa daw ang probability nga ang kana nga household kay naa na siya Sunday edition or nasa subscription to the Sunday edition given nga nag-subscribe pud sila sa daily edition. So, kana siya. So, meaning, ang nasa imuhang atubangan is puro na sila mga naka-daily edition. So, kung mamili daw kag isa, ang probability daw nimo nga kanay imuhang mapilian is naka-subscribe po na siya sa Sunday edition is 75%. So, ana na siya. Now, if we get the intersection, so what is the probability that the household subscribes to both the Sunday and the daily edition of the newspaper? So, kato ng intersection. So, meaning, multiplier ni mo ang 0.84 ug ang 0.75. So, you get 0.63 or 63%. So, there is a 63% probability that a household has both the Sunday and the daily edition of the newspapers. So, mauna na siyang imuhang multiplication na law. So, kani, joint probabilities. Joint probabilities is na-mention na ni sa inyong cross-tabulation. Diba? So, when you say joint probabilities, these are the probabilities found sa tunga. So, kaning nasa middle. These are your joint these are your joint probabilities. Now, your marginal probabilities are found at the margins. So, kaning mga nasa isig kilid. So, mo ni imuhang marginal probabilities. Now, we have what we call independent events. Now, for independent events, or it is considered an independent event, it is when the probability of event A is not changed by the existence of event B. Thus, we would say that events A and B are independent. So, meaning, walay effect si event A kay event B. Kana siya. So, they have no or there is no relation between the happening of event A given the existence of event B. So, simply, kung mangita kag kung you are given or you're asked for the conditional probability of independent events, kung siya conditional probability of independent events, of course, diretso na nga, ang probability nimo of event A happening given event B is equal to your probability of event A. Kaya again, di man ma-change ang probability sa event A whatever happens with your event B. O, same pod kung kani sa imong event B nga probability imong gipangita given event A, the probability, conditional probability is simply the probability of your event B. So, ano na siya. Now, if R na to sa multiplication for independent events, you simply multiply the two probabilities, two events. So, probability A multiplied by the probability B. So, ano na siya. So, we have here an example. For instance, you use credit card for purchase of gasoline. Now, from past experience, it is known 80% of customers use credit card for the purchase of gasoline. So, again, 80% daw ang mogamit og credit card for the purchase of gasoline. Now, the service station manager wants to determine the probability that the next two customers purchasing gasoline will each use a credit card. So, we have the following events. You have event A is the first customer uses a credit card. Event B nimo is the second customer uses a credit card. Now, as you can see here, si event A is wala siya relation sa imuhang event B. So, mo nang independent events siya. Now, if you want to get the probability nga mahitabo ang duha ka events or the intersection of both events is i-multiply or nimo simply multiply event A with event B. So, meaning, there is a 64% probability nga si customer A o si first customer and si second customer is mogamit siya og credit card. So, mo na siyang imuhang multiplication law for independent events. Now, lastly, for the conditional probability, we have mutual exclusiveness and independence. You should not or do not confuse the notion of mutually exclusive events with that of independent events. Two events with non-zero probabilities cannot be mutually exclusive and independent. So, if one mutually exclusive event is known to occur, the other cannot occur. Thus, the probability of the other event occurring is reduced to 0. Therefore, they are dependent. So, again, ibalik na ko ha. Mutually exclusive is different siya from independence sa imuhang events. Si independence sa imuhang events is, again, independent silang duha, so wala ra sila effect sa each other. Now, if you say mutually exclusive man good, there are instances wherein if maskin wala sila shared points, pero if mahitabo si event A, makana siya effect sa probability ni event B. So, although wala sila shared points, di ba, mao man na imong mutually exclusive, they share no intersection. Although wala sila shared points, pero the happening of event A has an effect on event B, so meaning has an effect on the probability of event B, so meaning si event B is dependent siya kay event A. Even if mutually exclusive sila or they share no common points, event B is still considered dependent on event A because again, mahitabo man ang event A given or the probability of the results of event A has an effect on the probability of event B. So mo na siya ang pasabot diri nga mo nang dependent. Now, si independent is independent yun silang duha. So, two events that are not mutually exclusive might or might not be independent. So, it would depend. So, imuha lang is magbasa ng jud kag tarong if unsa na siya nga kind of event. That's why I highlighted na you should first master the assigning of probabilities. Kaya para mas makasabot ka aning sa relationships and the conditional probability. So, however, in the conditional probability is most likely given naman ang probabilities daan, so you don't need to compute. But if you are to compute or to assign for probabilities, muna siya nga, challenge na siya on your end. So that's why it's still important for you to know how to assign probabilities. So that is all about conditional probability.